I'm Deborah Borchardt, and this is your midday market update. Well, our sell-off continues from yesterday's word from the Fed that they would eventually start to taper off. Well, the selling continues into today, even though we had good housing data, and I'm here with Keith Bliss from Cuttone. So Keith, it's fairly good report on the housing side, but it wasn't enough to turn things around. In fact, we're still down over 200 points today.
Yeah, in fact, the housing number was very good. When you think about it, it's the best existing home sales numbers, at least the increase from month to month and year to year that we've seen in several years now. So people are just nervous. I think this market is overdone in here. I mean, we caught the S&P oversold at 1615, and right now we're trading at 1601. So I think people teased apart Chairman Bernanke's comments yesterday and just got really petrified that they're clearly going to stop buying bonds at some point. When that some point is, we don't know, and it's far off into the road. So they got nervous, they got panicked. The other thing that this market moving right now may tell me is that, okay, if the bonds aren't there to support both the market and the economy, do people really believe that the U.S. economy is healthy enough to survive on its own without the Fed's intervention? So we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of that this morning.
Do you think that this obviously could just be a knee-jerk reaction, that once all this kind of settles down, that the buyers will come back?
I do. And in fact, the models, both the quant and the technical models that we look at, tell us that is so. So from a technical standpoint, we're now trading down below the 50-day moving average, which has acted as a real strong support level for the S&P over the last 2 weeks. We've bumped into that a few times and we've bounced right back off of it. And don't forget, we reached a high of a couple of days ago, a most recent high in the S&P, back all the way up to 1654 before the FOMC came out, and then the selling pressure really started. And again, from a quantitative standpoint, as I was just mentioning, we got oversold in the S&P at 1615. I think people will come in. Everybody's wondering where the buy the dip crowd went, right? I think people will come in and understand that this is like a rubber band. It's gotten overstretched too far one way. They'll start supporting this marketplace. And the fact of the matter is that the chairman was very clear that they're not going to make any move one way or the other until they analyze the economic data and the economic data points over several months. And he gave a forecast of what all the FOMC participants think is going to happen. I have to tell you, tracking these things for years, they're notoriously not very good at actually calling it right on the ball. And they're now more aggressive or more positive in their GDP forecasts than most economists around the globe that track the U.S. economy. So personally, I think it's going to be several months, maybe even well into 2014 before they really start paring back their program. But the economic data will show us that.
All right, well, as Keith mentioned, we do expect at some point that the buyers will come back. Where those buy the dippers went, well, I guess they're still out to lunch right now, but we'll expect at some point these numbers are going to get to a level that there are going to be some great bargains out there. That's Keith Bliss from Cuttone, and I'm Deborah Borchardt with The Street.